Alright, hello everybody, how are we doing tonight? Welcome back to another round of Fortnite Duos. Here we have week 2 drops coming in. So we have two teams, of course. We have the primary team and the alternate team. The primary team, we're going to have Malachi and Sean, aka Jackpot and Sean Town TV. Their team name being the Cursed Pirates. And as the alternate team, which we will switch into, they unfortunately die early on, or whatever it may be. We have Landon and Zarek, aka Bloodhound and ZFX. Their team would be so we'll hear them referring to them as just their names, not their names, but we're very excited. Obviously being week 2, some of these teams doing very well in week 1, some of them not doing as well, so potentially we're going to split the switch here. Also, we'll probably be getting a little bit from Coach Kyle on something new we're going to try. When we undefinite Discord, and coaches give instructions, and I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then I might definitely comment on it from my perspective. Really interesting to see how it goes tonight. Not kind of genre, definitely more of a fun team. Have fun, try to do as well as we can team, and actually compete at the highest level. So we're interested to see what we see from them and how well they do. Obviously, no matter what, we have high expectations for them. And at this point, we're just waiting for the lobby to fully get set up and for us to get ready to run. So it should be starting any minute now. I know specifically that Coach Kyle is hoping for some good stuff from this team, especially for the last year drop. Let's see them because they never on camera. So it's always funny to kind of see some of the reactions that you can just get to see meeting with the kids up here. Some of the coaches with the kids, even the kids when they come up here and you're pushing hands and stuff, we'll actually see how all that works. So, also to kind of go off that, posting interviews, we should have at least the primary team up here, potentially after drop 1 and after drop 2, potentially just after drop 2. And we could also hear from the alternate team as well, depending on how much we watch it. And then, of course, we will be hearing from either Coach Kyle or Coach Jonathan. Well, maybe both, I'm not totally sure. But
we're just playing this.
I watched a Battlefield clip of one of my friends picking up
so again, currently just waiting here.
Like it's cross that kill with the tank while Hud like sitting on top of a plane.
Should be starting here anytime. Looks like the lobby is getting more and more full as we officially hit 7:30. And we are scheduled to start at 7:30, so technically we're still full on time right now.
I was in a jet and I was like in a fight with another jet. I jumped out of the jet, jumped on his jet, shot him.
And the boys doing a good bit of warm-up tonight. Trying out some new weapons and Coach Kyle has been working on making sure that we're comfortable using different styles of guns and that we're really comfortable using these many different loadouts and everything that we can be. So that way we're not picking and choosing weapons or we're not really struggling to find certain ones. So we're just kind of comfortable finding anything. So it'll be really interesting to see how loadouts change. Actually, something that definitely mentioned is Halloween update is live. I'm not sure how much of it we will see in the game. So we might see chainsaws, we might see the new grenade, we might see none of it. It will be very interesting to see how the kids kind of adapt to it and what they push down and push down. Obviously, I have some of the inside scoops on some of that information, but obviously more on them as the game is see what they we are currently loading in here, so I will switch cameras as soon as we get our feet on the ground. And again, very excited to see how this team does. Obviously, we would love to see you win. We'd love to see you as well as placement as possible. And here we go. So let me switch. Okay, so currently watching Malachi and they're ready. You know, this is a Division II team. It looks like they already have a POI marked that they're going to drop at, and in just a short 5 seconds here, we're going to be getting started. So, and away we go. Something else that I was actually unfamiliar with. Obviously, we see the new battle bus design because of the Halloween update. And we see, it looks like that new area, and looks like they're going to the new area. Could be a little risky here from Malachi and Sean, but potentially trying to find some of the new loot. Well, it looks like they are actually going to switch to this end area over here towards the outside of the map, right on the beach there, on the very edge of the map. Which is always, it's a very interesting decision. You know, it can be a very good play, depending on where circle goes, but it can also be a little more of a risky play, depending on where circle goes and how loot is and everything like that. Especially if circle is across map, you know, then you're having to pretty much run the whole time. And it looks like we are seeing a contested drop here. Malachi really keeping his eye on him, seeing where he goes. Looks like that person might drop at the building in front of them. Yep, he does decide to drop in the building in front of them. So Malachi and Sean are going to have a little bit of time here. But although they are getting contested pretty quickly, so it will be really interesting to see if they just find a gun and have to engage. They do find a gun. We see Sean get one, and Malachi get the chest here. We find another chest. We do have some minis, so they should be drinking those pretty much as fast as possible, which we are going to see. Just kind of scouting right now. No real need to push in to take some fights. We are going to have some shots here. Malachi missing them. And we see the new grenade, and Malachi destroys it instantly. Someone dropping down, throwing another grenade at him. They do decide to get out. Looks like they're going to get in the car here, potentially drive away. Hearing a little bit of their comms, they are going to make the decision to drive away. Which honestly probably the right decision there. At least one person, if not another duo there, if not a couple teams, you know what I mean? So, especially with their guns and loadout and everything, probably the right decision there to get out as they decide to rotate into Sandy here. And hopefully find some better loot at Sandy. Both of them being very low weapon-wise and really just not in a great spot, and they get caught out, and they could struggle a bit. So it looks like Sandy, a bit of an uncontested area, but they're actually going to rotate to open these Marvel chests here. And looks like they are going to fight the AI. Malachi just kind of looting as Sean takes him down. But Malachi, they're hitting some crucial headshots on the AI to take him out pretty quickly. Sean not taking too much damage, if any, to be honest, so no real need to panic. We do find some chug splashes here. It will be nice to use those. Take it up to as high a shield as we can. Looks like we might save them, though. Nope, looks like Malachi wants to use them. So as they continue to loot here, I would say they do need to find some materials. It looks like they are going to take some time to harvest some. Right now, only getting wood, that being the most basic material, but the weakest material as well. So definitely need to diversify their material usage here. Looks like finally we see Malachi getting some brick or some stone. Ideally, we see some metal pick up as well, but it will be hard to dictate how much metal there actually is in this location. It looks like a lot more of it could just be brick. Looks like Sean, though, kind of finding some. Malachi really focusing on the wood and the rock or the brick right now. And let's go to Sean here. Let's see what loadout he's rocking with. So actually pretty similar loadouts. Real main difference here is we see Sean on the 2 grenades and the 6 minis. Malachi not really having any healing items, not quite yet at least. So. And Sean having a bunch more metal here, but not really many other mats. So looks like they are going to see team here. They're going to decide to hide and see what the team does. And they're not pushing them, but they are not far away. So it could be a bit of a problem if the other team does see them or And unfortunately for them, they can't just sit here forever. They're going to have to make a decision to either drive away or to take shots and to engage, or could be really interesting. Looks like Sean here might be taking a couple shots. Decides not to. Doesn't have the angle. They have to make a decision. Storm is coming very quickly. And not that they have crazy far to go. They are going to get in car and drive away. Probably the right decision. Especially trying to get as far away from that POI, even though they need to go that way as possible. And they are in storm now, so they don't need to worry about that anymore. But they are kind of in no man's land right now, so ideally they find a POI and be able to loot up a little bit more, as their loot's definitely not an ideal scenario, but looks like they are going to go into this little warehouse, gas station-ish building. And could find a good bit of metal here, so actually a really good rotation spot from whoever their IGL is. Lots of metal here with all the stairs and the shelving. That's what I was looking for, and all that stuff. So also really good awareness of loadouts here from them. Finally, we see Sean getting some wood instead of just having metal, and some brick, which is crucial for both of them. Trying to get as many mats as possible. We do see Sean having a med kit now because he threw his grenades. So let's switch back to Malachi here and go see what his loadout is. Malachi being in a darker area, so you'll have to excuse us if it's hard to see. Malachi having no healing items though, having 3 grenades and 4 weapons. Maybe a little bit more of an aggressive loadout for Malachi. Could be really interesting to see what happens here when they get into a fight. I mean, if he gets caught out here and not having a healing item, could put him in a really bad spot. Looks like Sean, though, finding the big is going to mark it for him. Does find a med kit. Let's see if he pings it for his teammate to pick up. Finally, we see Malachi there switch to the minis, which is a great decision from him. He's also going to be able to drink this big to be at 200. Sean there being just a little short, probably like 80 or 90 shield instead of 100, so... you know, obviously you want to be at 100, but not enough of a position for it to be a detriment. And we do find the flow berry, so he actually could get up to 100, and we do see Sean Malachi, pick that up and drop the minis there. So flow berry also used as a movement item as well, so can be very crucial. Not farming much metal here, and finally, as I say, we start to do it a little bit. Pick up some of the metal, and looks like their car is getting jacked, which is a little unlucky. They might push. No, they got away a little too fast, so unfortunately they're just going to have to start running now. Oh, luckily there is another car for them, and it's at full health and full gas and everything, so probably a little lucky for them that they took their car instead of stealing this brand new one. They're actually going to try to follow the team that took their car. Maybe a little aggressive decision, especially because they're going into the red area here. And I don't know if that provides dashes like like the green water used to do before. I'm not familiar. So that will be something that we'll have to take note of if they do touch the water and we do get to see it. Looks like it does provide the dashes. You can see there with the skulls being marked around them. Then still having 3 dashes. Same as everything we've seen before, just the recolor on the water and the dashes themselves, or the skulls, I guess I should say. Looks like Malachi sees someone falling in. Thought about taking a shot, but decided not to. And now we see both of them at 200, or 100 health and 100 shield. So fully kitted up here. Malachi not having great metal, but having really good mats of the other two, having really good numbers of mats for the other two. And I believe the opposite being for Sean, so having really good metal, which unfortunately we can't see because he's driving, but having really good metal and then having a little lesser of the other two. And now we see here that having really good metal and wood, but having not as much brick. So looks like they are going to use their dashes here pretty quickly just to move and get the new car. And they do decide just to take the car and leave. Not really looting out much anymore. Looks like they're going to go to the bunker here. And they are going to find really good loot here, so they definitely need to take as much as they can and use this advantage as much as they can. They do find a chainsaw, and Malachi is going to pick it up. Nope, drops it for Sean. Sean going to use it. Nope, drops it for Malachi. Malachi going to use it instead. Looks like a little bit of indecisiveness there from the team, but they do finally decide on who's going to carry it. So, really interesting. I think Sean here has a really good loadout. 2 guns, especially 2 of them being legendary and 2 healing items. Let's take a peek at Malachi's and let's see what he's running. And unfortunately, we won't be able to see quite this second because he's driving, but looks like they're going to get in a storm here a bit and then potentially hold a location. There we go. So we see 3 guns, movement item, that being the chainsaw, and then the flowberry as well. So we have Coach Kyle in call right now, so we're actually going to undeafen here a little bit and just see what he has to say.
There we go. Okay, I don't know who the
So what do you want to do
was.
here?
Hey guys, there are shots up ahead of you.
Don't stop, don't stop. Oh, yeah, go over here. We should probably go. They're shooting.
You just want to take a break up here. Wait, hold up.
Ooh, go. That was, I could hear those.
Oh no, I don't want to go nearby medallions.
How are you guys doing on map?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm okay, I guess.
Not max,
I'm not
but
very good
it's,
in, like,
but it's something, you know?
yeah.
Oh.
Be
Oh,
ready. Oh,
goodness.
they were in the bushes. Be ready to fight, guys. You might have to take some fights soon.
Okay.
They're starting to take shots at your car. So if you can get to a spot that lets you have high ground, because your car's running out of fuel, it might be a good call to find a high ground spot and box up there.
Okay. Yeah.
Like right here.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Just pause for a second, see if there's anybody pursuing you. The other option you can do is go towards
There's
structures.
that over there.
You go to the structures.
There's a graveyard up here.
Yep. All right, boys. I'm gonna go check in on some of the other teams. Okay.
Yeah, wait.
Okay.
Actually, no, never mind.
So as we heard there from Coach Kyle, really advising them that at this point in the game we are starting to get towards middle/late game, so they need to be prepared to fight at any second here. And looks like they might take this fight on the reboot in the 2v1 scenario. They are going to try and get some shots on him. Looks like they can't find him. Malachi shooting the person dropping in. Isn't able to hit any himself. I'm not sure if Sean gets any. And they do get the knock. Malachi hitting the one that matters most. Malachi going for the first, but is getting shot at a little bit. He's going to have to turn here and start to build. Does see the enemy. Malachi here just taking some pot shots at him. He's distracted by Sean. This is actually a really interesting position from them, especially because they have to go over the bridge, so we might see a disengage here. Coach Kyle back in, giving them some words of advice. Looks like they're going to push together, and we are going to see the chainsaw used here from Malachi. Doesn't surf with it, though, just decides to run with it. Now he's going to surf with it, is going to switch and build up a bit of a base to let Sean run into. Sean there going to push for the fight himself, though. Malachi coming in a little late. Let's switch to Sean. Let's see if he finds him. Is able to get a couple shots on him. Does take some good damage himself, though. Sean boxing up. Looks like he's going to heal. Let's go back to Malachi. Malachi seeing him. Isn't able to get the hit, though. Is able to box up. I do believe they are getting third party, so they might need to just get out at this point. Them pushing this person together is the right play here, but unfortunately they're not able to find him. Malachi a little lost here in the builds. Does use his dash there. I don't know if he meant to do that or if that was by accident. Sean there getting knocked, unfortunately, and getting thirsted all up to Malachi now. Let's see what Malachi can do. Sees the third party. Tries to use the chainsaw. Does get one, but unfortunately can't get the other with the chainsaw. So really great performance from them. Yeah, a little unfortunate there, especially getting third party. So now we will now be switching to our alternate game, aka Landon and Zarek. So let's jump in here as we see there. Looks like we're gonna be watching Landon to start out. And a very interesting loadout from Landon here. Looks like with the shotgun, Iron Man gloves, and 2 other sets of gloves. I would assume maybe War Machines and Black Panthers, and then minis. Doing very good on mats though, almost having max wood and max metal, and having about half of max of brick. So let's take a peek at Zarek's loadout and see what he's running with. See how this, how he's building his comp around this. Zarek here having 2 guns, chainsaw, and 2 healing items, being minis and medkits. So also having very good mat control. As they continue to find mats here. Getting a little bit of coaching from Coach Jonathan. Be really interesting to see if Zarek leaves the chugs here, or slurp chugs, or the slurp barrels, and he does decide to. I mean, I know it's a little bit later in the game, but maybe not a great decision in my opinion. Could have taken those away just so no one else could have gotten them. But as I continue to rotate here, it looks like we could potentially see some shots in front of them. Actually, behind them, actually, sounds like. Do hear the mark. Looks like Zarek is going to decide to take 1 shot, but doesn't find anyone. So they're going to take this high ground here. And not being in zone is not great, unfortunately. But they do see some shots directly in front of them. I don't know if they're going to try and find this team here. Looks like they're going to play a little bit more passive and kind of slowly move up. Oh, looks like they do find some builds, though. Builds always being a point of interest. Zarek still keeping that the rock in check. Zarek finding him. Has to call out for his teammate. And they are going to take some shots here. Unfortunately, Zarek missing most of them. Does get there one there. Landon really keeping fire on that build, using all of his glove items to really destroy those builds and catch them out. Fortunately, Zarek just not being able to find any. Landon having the chainsaw on him, and Landon being knocked. Fortunately, Zarek playing a little bit farther back. Zarek does get the chainsawer, though. Does get the thirst. Trying to keep Landon alive. Needs to keep himself alive at this point. Boxed up in Storm, and unfortunately does get eliminated there. So, you know, and we saw it. So we saw it in both matches. What seemingly looked like to be a little bit of panic. Little panic building. You know, especially when maybe not even so much as panic building, but panic building from Landon's point of view, and panic using the chainsaw from Malachi and Sean's point of view. Really just. Really just knowing that they're kind of caught out and not really being able to recover from that being caught out. So, again, I definitely think that was a little bit really interesting to see how both of these teams kind of bounce back from the other, from that last drop. It looks like we're going to be switching. We're going to have a third alternate for tonight. Just continue to get you guys some content.
Discord 6.
And as I get the stream up here for you,
was doing just fine. I was on the cookie, and then all of a sudden this man just comes from the top row. I take 130.
I believe that this is Jack and Miko again. So we saw them last week, them being the primaries last week. Having really good placement right now. We see Jack having 5 kills with 17 people left, 2 of them being Jack and Miko. So also very good loadout here from Jack specifically. Jack being Stinky and Miko being Cookie. So holding a very good position. Storm is closing in. Let's look at Miko here and see what he's running. Actually, a very similar loadout to Jack. Using most of that Flowberry Fizz, but they are going to use it to rotate a little bit here. And they do find some people. Miko there hitting a good number of shots. Unfortunately, unable to find him, but they do know exactly where he's at as they start to build. This could be a solo person. They could potentially push this. Looks like they decided to kind of build up here and just wait a little bit. We do have Coach Kyle in Hall, so let's actually on Devin here and see what Coach Kyle has to say.
Here, I'm popping medkit right now. Kid's right there. I hit him for a while.
Yep, stay on that vehicle if you can.
I blew it up. Oh, there's a ton of kids over
27
there.
white. Yeah. There's like 4 kids in there.
You want to go third party? They're fighting.
Dead. I got him, I got him, I got him.
Guys.
Sean,
37 right here. Box up, box up, box up.
still a good finish,
You have
boys.
to rotate.
Still a good finish.
Where are we going?
Here, chainsaw underneath, chainsaw underneath. My name dropped.
Yeah, I don't have too much, like, I don't have any, wood left. I hit some random kid for 33.
Lachlan, go for it, buddy.
There's
You're
2
good.
right there.
Can
I'm getting height on them. I'm getting height on them.
I'm spraying him.
Oh, bot build.
Yeah, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming.
Hey, Sean, be careful. There's another team to your right, okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Wait, we have to
I just
rat
knocked the
out.
kid, so I don't know where he is, though.
That's nice. Leave him to die.
Yeah, I don't have too much health left. Alright, yeah, I'll take this medkit.
Here, I'm gonna pop rest of Flowberry.
So as we continue to listen in there, one thing that I really want to mention that, unfortunately we didn't really get to hear it from Derek and Landon, but we hear really good comms there from Jack and Miko, as we could potentially see another high place finish from them, just shredding apart this build with a chainsaw. They are able to get the kill. Miko getting the cleanup. And it was actually a medallion loader, so they're going to pick up this medallion, be able to use it to get some health back here. They do have a little bit of time. It is them just versus another team. Let's see what they decide to do here. They do have to fully rotate the circle here, unfortunately with no awareness, no info of where the other team is. And they do find them. Kind of switching position here. They know exactly where the other team is. It's just being a 2v2 that could engage this as they slowly move the zone. Jack there kind of covering up Miko's shots. Actually might be a 2v1v1. Miko getting some really good damage on the one, getting the knock. It is the 2v2, but just a 1v2, and they get the win. Really great round there from Jack and Miko, and it seems like these guys consistently are doing well. It's got to feel really good if you're in Coach Kyle's position, as they just continue to have amazing drops. And we see their 12 kills, 6 for each, and the first place win. Exactly what we expect of them, and what we saw last week as well. So really great to see that they are just continuously popping off in this division and continuously getting wins with a high number of kills.
Teams. You were lucky because they were a little bit scattered and they weren't good enough to take a single one of you down because you guys are built different. But just be ready. You need to make sure that you're making those calls, okay? Okay? Good.
Bro, we just cooked up.
Yeah, that was y'all hit some flambés there. That was pretty good.
Hey, Malachi.
Okay, as we continue to wait for drop food number 2, really great matches there from all of the teams that we watched. And
I will be running it, so I'll be your game master. So we are.
and I would love to potentially get someone up here for a post-game interview, potentially our primary team or any team that's playing.
That's okay. It's an online program. I'll walk you through all the basics.
Let me step away real quick and let's see if we can make that happen. Okay, we are back. So we're gonna have a little bit of post-match interviews from our alternate team here. Looks like we're gonna start with Landon. So as he continues to get ready, Landon, welcome to the booth. How are you feeling after that game?
Decent. It wasn't the absolute best, but decent.
Sorry, Landon, go ahead and say that one more time for me.
It was decent. Not the absolute best, but decent.
So we saw towards the end there, you guys get spread out a little bit. Was there a little bit of lack of cones, or what was going through your guys' mind?
It was more of a strike. Because I had the wrinkles and I had the repulsors that they got really close. So I pretty much thought I can get in close while you can take them out far. And it just, there's a slight desync, I guess, in the comms. Because he didn't help me. It was just a desync in terms of where there's a person behind me or anything. I was focusing on the person running away. Because again, I had the aimbot close and then I just get one shot by the chainsaws this season.
So and you'll have to, we'll close out here. You have to inform me a little bit on that loadout there. I mean, having, what, 3 or 4 sets of gloves and healing items. Interesting from my perspective, but talk to me a little bit about why you're running those.
Shotgun was the close range. War Machine can just shred builds, and then again, Repulsor can just disperse a lot of builds. And I feel like that works very well with my build, who has extremely good aim and just can take out confusion very quickly. So my main strategy is dispersing builds and allowing him to take full flush big elimination.
Perfect. So lots of trust for you guys as a team. All right. Well, thank you so much for stepping up here. We're going to talk to said teammate now. So and we're very appreciative.
Division 3, you guys are dropping in 2 minutes. So Division 2, we're dropping in
All right. Let's get it set up. Hello, Zarek. How are you doing after that game one?
Half and half.
So, hearing from your duo, we're talking about trust that you guys have in each other. Can you potentially expand on kind of the standards you guys set for each other and what you expect from not only yourselves, but from each other as a team?
Yeah, just the big thing, we need to work on communication, as coaches have said. And sometimes I should just listen more.
In a perfect world, we all just listen perfectly, but unfortunately that can't happen. So, hearing from Landon a little bit, we got some of the explanation there. That last fight, we saw a little disconnect. Is that solely what it was, just a little bit of a disconnect with comms there?
Some of it was because we didn't communicate with them.
And finally, I want to mention, from our perspective, it looked like, I don't know if it was defense, maybe they were playing, but once they went out there and you started to get rushed at by the chainsaw, how do you, especially with that being such an important, how do you prepare in a scenario where someone is just
Fortnite players, really quick guys, I get your attention. Across the board, the rate drops again tonight. Every single person.
Yeah, so it's
who's
really
the top
interesting to see
20.
how the game kind of changes with that.
Great work.
And
Keep it up.
similar. Well, I think that's all the time we have. We have a second drop here too. So thank you so much for stepping up here and answering some questions, and we look forward to hearing from you
Take
guys
parts
later.
together.
Thank you.
Other than that, guys, great stuff. That don't get chainsaw man. Don't get chainsaw man.
All right. Really interesting to talk to older, more experienced players in this scenario. Really just good players. Really just good guys overall. Those guys are some of the fastest veterans. So it was great to get to stand up people and players up here. So, what's going on inside their minds as a in the
I think it's just important for everyone to love.
but very pleased with how all of these teams played. And obviously, you're seeing
War machine.
always nice to be able to have that option and see them get a W. I could say it's becoming a great it seems like
It is frustrating.
Yeah, I think we start on time now, so as soon as we get feet on the ground in the pregame, I'll switch for you guys as always.
Let's go! Dr. Sandals goes crazy. They don't know about
Yeah, so as we continue to get in drop two, something I actually probably should ask them about is, what they're looking to change in drop one and drop two. Realistically, I think for land, it's just have to make sure they're not lapsing in that communication area. We kind of heard from both of them that they have a lot of trust in each other and they expect great things from each other, but really making sure that they just keep up communication is crucial for them, especially with that level of trust. Obviously you can build that trust so much, but you still need to have it at a certain point. So that level of confidence and being able to turn that on offense is really crucial. So looks like after drop two, we could potentially get post games from everyone to get to see all the teams together. Definitely probably our primary alternate. Should be starting at zero now. We're just about to get feet on the ground. And for Sean Malachi, I think, unfortunately we didn't get the internet. I think really for them that they kind of just need to slow down a little bit. I think we saw when they get eliminated. And if they can just kind of simmer into their games and play it like what they can, Kyle and Coach Jonathan know that they can lock in and I think that they will continue to do it. I think the really hard thing for them is they have to be a little more confident in themselves. We saw we were halfway through the game and they weren't taking shots. Not that they weren't taking shots, because they were taking shots, but we were just kind of trying our best to avoid fights, and at some point they have to be ready to take those fights and really make sure that you're prepared for that. And I'm not saying that they weren't prepared, but I think that they were prepared actually really well, especially as we showed the 5-second coach Kyle, but and really just need to make sure that they are confident with themselves and believe that they can win those fights because they absolutely can. And something that I wanted to mention, I don't think I've mentioned yet, is every single one of these teams, every team we just watched tonight, so First Pirates, aka Malachi, not Honorables, aka Unicorn Draft Team, I forget their team, I think it's Big Night Watchers. Every single one of these teams, all in the same division, so even though a lot of them may not be friends that we just in the arena or outside the arena or whatever, all fighting each other potentially. So we do kind of have a little bit of a friendly rivalry for some of these guys. We haven't really seen quite yet, but as the season kind of continues to go on, there's another foundational point, coverage and everything. I think we will start to see like, I really just want to beat this team because they're ahead of us and they're playing the same game as me. We're really interested to see how the storyline is going to develop for these teams.
Landon, did I tell you? Did you hear what I was doing earlier? Jack was asking, can I be high?
We could be starting here any minute now. A little behind at this point.
Division 1, you drop it.
I think Division 1 is dropping. We're not watching this week. But Division 2 is going to be dropping very shortly after.
I would love to be crazy about it.
Feet on the ground, switch back to the gameplay. I also want to say something that I need to start referencing in my favorite streams. When you see me looking down like this, it's not because I'm not downloading like at you guys or anything, or I'm actually just reading at the screen to check to see if we're dropping or if there are updates going on or anything like that. So you have to excuse me for the streams kind of looking down to the side. Let's just go on
It's like top 10 anime trains.
just about to have feet on the ground here. Countdown potentially starting in the second half. See the update. Moving forward. Here we go. Drop 2 of the Duos in Fortnite. Malachi and Sean looking to do better than they did last week. Let's see how they do. Switch screens. Feet on the ground. Here we go. All right. Feet on ground here. Looks like we're going to have a drop in about 5 seconds. No POI ping, so a little interesting as we saw that last time from this team. We're not seeing it this time, so maybe a little bit of a lack of awareness to see where they're going. They are going to ping, though. It looks like they're dropping... it's not super hot, but I would say warm. Could potentially find a lot of people here at this named POI. And it is kind of far away, being 1,200 meters away. Obviously, that being quite a distance, being on the edge of the map. But still, I think the new area, especially with the dashes, is always kind of a risky drop. There's a lot of people who do like to use those dashes, especially early game when they haven't found movement items. And just as we talk about it, we are going to see at least one person there that we see dropping, and we have to assume here that there's another. Actually, and we see this circle here that Malachi has on. Just a bunch of people dropping that way. So look like they are going to decide to hold off and go against that. They are going to drop at this little windmill, maybe potentially a little village. The unnamed POI, and hopefully they can find some good loot. If they can't, realistically, they're going to be able to get out as quick as they can. It looks like they are even going to get tested here, so could potentially have to load up really quickly and then have to take a fight. Malachi waiting to go all the way to the ground, doesn't use his pickaxe to farm through the roof, potentially just slowing himself down a little bit. Having 2 guns though, and finding minis, having 3 guns now though. Oh, Sean picking up the other actually. The other team is taking some shots. They do know exactly where they're at. We see some window peeking there. Malachi actually getting dinged there. Sean being very low. They're going to have to really be careful. And looks like they are going to decide just to get out. But they are getting chased a little bit. Oh, this is not a good position for Malachi and Sean to be in, especially because very low on mats. They're not going to be able to build themselves a defense. Sean literally one tap away. Malachi already knocked. Let's switch to Sean here. Let's see if he can get out. Then being absolutely chased. Sean getting into the dash river here. And just like that, now unfortunately being eliminated. Obviously not a great place for them to be in. And just getting a little unlucky there with the pressure from that other team. The other team really just, making sure that they didn't want to let them get away and cleaning up the kills the best as they could there and pursued them out of the POI. Again, definitely not great performance from Malachi and Sean that we expect to see from them. And I suspect that they will get a little advice here from coaches as they kind of suffer a hard defeat. But before we switch, we are actually going to have some post-game interviews. Potentially. Yes, we are going to have some post-game interviews. We're actually going to switch back to the caster pod so we can talk about those. And looks like we are going to start with Sean. So Sean, how are you doing? And can you talk to me a little bit about that second drop?
Yeah, so the second drop was we were trying to go to the underworld area, but there was a lot of people there, and we kind of got contested over there a little bit. So we kind of instead we went to this house, but there's also other people dropping there, but they got Iron Man weapons, and they kind of.
Yeah, so unfortunately they're kind of being unlucky on both fronts, Loot, not having great loot, and then having that team really just pursuing down is obviously not a great place to be in. So unfortunately we weren't able to interview you guys after drop one, so we'll talk a little bit about drop one if you guys remember it as much. So that drop one, we saw much better, obviously much better results. But we saw a lot of rotating, so very interesting here. Are you guys a little bit more of a passive team?
Yes, yeah, we're trying to not go for any fights because we know what happens.
Okay.
But the fight we did take, that was my fault because I thought it was the solo that we were pushing, but it was actually a duo.
Okay.
And
And so obviously not so much for drop 2, but more so for drop 1. What are you looking to take away from these drops as you go into next week's matches?
well, we could probably get high ground together because we weren't really doing that much. And probably never take fights until we actually have to.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for answering some questions for me. You want to go ahead and pass the headset off to your duo, and we'll have some for him as well. So thank you for your time. Alrighty, as we get Malachi up here. Malachi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
So talk to me a little bit. I know we had a little bit of an unfortunate drop 2 there, but just kind of explain to me a little bit what was going through your head.
So, whenever we dropped and saw those other people, we decided that we tried to get the weapons first, to stand our ground and but whenever I died and we saw that, or I saw that there was a Iron Man NPC and they got the weapons. And it kind of startled us and we kind of started running into a panic.
So we talked a little bit about panic there. How do you guys think you played, especially towards the end of drop 1 there? As I think we saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we saw a little panic once, specifically when Sean got there.
Yeah, because me personally, I think he's the better one of the two.
Okay.
And I kind of just fall after him.
So, finally, we'll close it out with here. Again, not so much drop 2, but more so drop 1. What are you guys looking to take from those drops and continue to improve on as we continue to look at the future?
Like, try to like stay away from people because we're not like big into fighting yet, like the other people in the arena, and just kind of stay away to become enemies with everybody else. Just kind of be there.
Yeah,
until like end game, until we're forced to.
Yeah, until you have to fight.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time up here, and you just go ahead, set the headset down wherever, and we appreciate your time.
See ya.
Have a good one. All right, so as we now transition into Landon and Zarek's game, currently watching Landon. Looks like loadout being being quite a bit different this game. We saw from last game from Landon, him having the shotgun, 2 other guns, and 2 healing items instead of just a shotgun, like 3 or 4 gauntlets and then a healing item. I think it was 3. Also, they're going to use the car to potentially rotate. I'm not using it to farm any metal though, so a really interesting strategy that we've seen from other games before. Looks like we're not going to see from Zarek and Landon this drop. Just kind of destroy and pick apart this POI, this gas station, for the little bit of metal they can find. Landon ready to go, just waiting for Zarek at this point. Landon having really good wood, almost max wood, almost max brick, and about 200 metal. So him being in a very good scenario for himself. Let's take a look at Zarek's loadout here, as we can't see Landon's anymore. Zarek having a very similar loadout to Landon. We see 3 guns, 2 healing items. Zarek having max wood, max brick, and all but max metal. So really good building material management from Zarek here, as Zarek, I think, is a little bit more of the builder in this duo. And again, I think one of the most interesting things that we've seen about this duo is that just the raw amount of trust that they have for each other. You know, and we heard it live from them, and we've continued to see it. You know, we saw it in the game that they have an unspoken trust bond of just pure faith in each other as players. And really, you know, as we heard from Malachi and Sean there a little bit of self-doubt, you know, one thinking, you know, better than the other or whatever, but Landon and Zarek here having true faith and trust in each other's abilities, and believing that they can handle pretty much any team that they come up against. It's really interesting to see what they decide to do here. I think are going to take some zip line. They're going to find this loot. Zarek there almost goes over the chest and misses the jump. Luckily, he doesn't. Looks like they're just going to get right back in the car and potentially rotate here. Storm here closing in on the dash area, so that's always a very interesting. And we see Coach Kyle in here. I'm actually going to undeafen him real quick.
Oh my gosh. This is
Well, that's not Rebels Roost.
yeah.
There's a fight right here.
So where, Landon, are you planning on moving everybody?
Okay. Wait, there's actually an Iron Man thing right next to us.
Sounds like you have a plan.
Yep. There's no one around. Wait, there's builds. You might already be in there.
He's never looted, so.
Yep. Get before them. Because we have advantage with them,
Yeah.
Mythic.
Just be cautious, guys. Might try to contest it, so get in and get out real quick, okay?
Yep. I got the Iron Man loadout. There's Kit. I'm actually. Is it 5 I take both?
Oh.
What do you have then? I'm gonna drop my fishes and then my Stark rifle.
Get a fish then.
Yeah.
Cool. Solid call. All right, where do you guys want to go after this point?
Let's see here.
Because right now you're
just
pretty
chill.
close in center. Yeah, just do me a favor. If you are planning on chilling, find a space near edge of storm, edge of zone. Okay, sick.
So as we talked about it before, and I think that The very interesting thing about this duo is we see Landon there taking both gauntlets. Zarek there actually not wanting the second one. And Landon being a fan of the gauntlets, really interesting to see how he plays with these. We're actually going to watch his perspective here a little bit just to see how he uses these in fight. As we saw last drop, him having 3 gauntlets, 3 of different types. It'll be really interesting to see how he uses 2 of the same gauntlet. Definitely preferring the gauntlets though compared to normal weapons. And really, as we talked about the trust before, really just trusting in Zarek that as long as he destroys the builds, he can get, that Zarek will be able to get the hits on the opposition and clean up the kills. So, and actually I was a little mistaken. You see 1 pair of gauntlets and 1 pair of boots there, and they are going to get the dashes, so just another extra form of movement. Last drop we saw Landon have the gloves. We did not see the boots. We have not seen the boots yet, so it would be really interesting to see what those do. I'm not entirely sure, but looks like they're just kind of rotating around here as they try and find somewhere to kind of hunker down. Looks like they might not. They might just continue to drive around here. Potentially see if they can find anyone. I mean, 32 people left, 2 of them being them, so realistically 30 teams left, 30 people left. Still actually a good number of people left in the lobby. Circle there still being pretty big, so no real problem with needing to fight at this point, but definitely the awareness needs to be there from them. Looks like they are going to see some shots here, and their car is actually low on fuel. They might have to engage this. Looks like they are going to decide to drive away. Not going to be able to get super far though. They do see some more shots and potentially some footsteps. So they're going to probably need to get as far away as possible if they do not want to engage these teams. And with them being potentially 3 or 4 teams right there, probably the right decision just to drive away at this point. And we see there the number go from 32 to 28 just in a matter of seconds. Realistically, probably some of those fights that was going on. So the right decision to get away. Looks like they're going to find an octane here. And they are going to drive in it. Having about 3/4 of a tank of gas. Playing much better. But they're driving back to the same direction they just were. They might actually be wanting to take one of these fights. Just want to be using the car as an advantage here. And Landon just absolutely destroying the build. Zarek getting out and cleaning him up before Landon can even participate in the fight. Great stuff there from Zarek. And yet again, we've talked about it, and we've talked about it, and we've talked about it. But I'm going to continue to talk about it. The amount of trust that these two have in each other is incredible. We see there Landon still drive full force into that build, knowing that as long as he fully wipes out those builds, that Zarek will be able to get the kill. And even though it's a 1v1, fully trusting in his teammate. And what exactly did we see? We saw Landon destroy, 100% destroy those builds, and Zarek come in and get the kill, I think without getting a single hit of damage on him. So insane amounts of trust from these two in each other. And really great to see this level of teamwork at this level. Looks like we are going to have some extra shots here. Zarek potentially peeking out just to find a couple. Landon deciding just to get out though. They're kind of stuck at this point, so they need to kind of find a way out. Landon does eventually find it to be able to get back up to normal height on ground. They're going to find another car here, and looks like there's some more shots over to their left. They're going to decide to avoid those. Landon here kind of taking a jump, but also going right back to where he was. So they're going to have to decide here what they want to do. This car being low on fuel, some builds being in front of them, could potentially find some teams up there. We do see some shots behind them to the left a little bit and to their right. Them kind of being in the middle of 2 teams, they're going to have to really decide here what they want to do, especially with their car almost being out of fuel. They continue to rotate out, just continuously to seem to drive into teams. They are eventually going to have to get out and start taking some of these fights as they get close to Island, which in my personal experience is never a good place to be. still deciding not to fight. The car almost being non-existent on fuel. Could potentially decide to third party here. They do see some grounds. They are just going to rotate cars. This car having about half a tank of gas is they're just going to continue to drive around and wait for these teams to kind of pick each other off. They are in circle right now as we see circle start to rotate back into zone. So they could potentially hold the middle to edge of this circle, let teams come to them and just kind of pick them off as they continue to contest. Not a lot of space in this circle at this point, as we see again, probably half, if not 60 to 70% of it being in storm. So them being in a really good position right now. Actually, probably really great to see them not take any fights here and just hold this position. They are going to solely here just wait for people to come to them. They know it has to happen. And here we see Landon with both the gauntlets and the boots on, trying to organize his loadout. Having really good mats. Let's take a peek look at Zarek's screen. Let's see how his mats are looking. Having max everything, having the chainsaw for movement, and having 2 healing items. Zarek playing more of that damaging role, really trusting in land and just being able to destroy builds. And I hate to keep harping on it, but looking at these loadouts, you have to just continue to mention the amount of trust that they have in each other. The zone here now almost fully being rotated out into the new circle. They're going to decide to rotate here a little bit, find this gas station, and use this as kind of natural coverage. Zarek here farming up some mats, even though he's at max of each. I don't even think really realized until he saw some metal drop right there. Landon here, building up a little bit, but still holding the top of this gas station. I mean, kind of a little bit away from zone. Landon there marking when he sees some shots and sees the build there, decides to mark that as well. Landon and Zarek know full well that they do not need to push here. They are in a perfect position just to kind of wait for these numbers to go down a little bit, especially with how small zone is getting at this point, and let the teams kind of kill each other, and then they can just come up and clean up some of these kills and potentially get a W here. We do have Coach Kyle back in call, so let's undeafen real quick and see what Coach Kyle has to say about it.
Yep.
on that one.
I did not think that would miss.
It's okay. Try something a little more small, accurate. Probably a better call right now.
Yeah.
How much AR ammo do you have?
If you want to push this, you can.
Yeah. We're gonna play further back though.
Well, you can chest beam them.
Yep, I got him. Chest beam him?
Yeah, I would, because he crushes the build.
Alright, might keep kind of just saving up for chest beams.
Flushes him out, so Zarek. Yep.
We have to move up.
Because then Zarek can start taking shots at him for free.
Knocks.
Just like that.
Get me out of this. Let's keep watching behind us.
His teammate's probably right exactly behind you guys.
Yep, I'm watching.
Just be prepared. Yeah, because he might be trying to get the res off. You could try to hold him in storm if you can.
Oh, they took our car.
They snatched your car.
Oh, people on the height.
24, 47.
Nice. Have to keep moving up. Get me out.
Cracked him, 150.
Nice, good job there. Keep playing consistent, bud.
Keep just building.
Yep. So try to use you're gonna have to use their builds for cover right now.
Oh.
It's okay.
Right here?
Just be ready. They're gonna try to push when they get a chance to.
Yep. I'm ready to intervene if I need to.
Just be ready for how about use the Julies that you have?
Fair enough.
instead of the...
You can actually push them first.
You could. I wouldn't mind that. I think it's a good call.
Oh, look at that one. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Okay.
They're push. They got yeah.
Ah, it's so good.
Wall didn't play.
Yeah, okay, that's why.
And unfortunately, as we saw there from them playing that situation actually really well, just kind of getting caught out with how many teams were around them. And and again, we see it. The amount of trust that these guys have in each other is just insane. And especially now being able to watch them is really unique to see. So we could potentially get them up here for post-game interviews, as Landon does join me up here. Landon, tell me a little bit about how you're feeling after that drop too.
Again, another pretty good. I think that was a lot better than that last one. When it went rounds. It was just unfortunate with the mythic was so short. And then,
So we saw there, and I think this goes back to the trust thing. We saw there, you actually taking both of the iron objects. How much trust, just if you can quantify roughly, do you guys have in each other to make a play like that?
I have very good trust in that. Very trustworthy. I just trust they don't do that. We also, while we're doing that, we discussed having to ask if you want either of them set up. So I think I'll have best to go with it. So I have it for myself.
Perfect. And so, as you kind of mentioned, we saw there at the end a little bit of an unfortunate situation there in your position. Going back a little before that, you guys just kind of driving around. Did you know that you didn't really want to stay put, or were you just trying to find an area that you wanted to stay put and then someone kind of helped you out?
We kind of wanted to find an area to stay put. It was just everywhere. But I was like, this is probably nice. You saw people immediately. We just didn't want to fight. Even though we had said that things with them, but again, it's just safer to play close to it.
I totally understand. And lastly here, looking back at two good drops, very good drops. What are you guys looking at these drops to move forward into future drops?
Just better communication overall. I mean, again, every single situation. So just try to adapt our communication style to each other. That's one of the biggest things. Also, just with the new season, with the new season, the better planning to use them.
Well, unfortunately with Fortnite, ever-changing game, so that's kind of something you have to have in your bag. But we appreciate the time. You coming up here and answering some questions. I want to go ahead and hand my headset off to Duos and have some for him as well. So thank you. Alright, and finally here, as he gets ready, we have the man, the myth, the laser beam, I think, at this point, Zarek, talk to me a little bit about how that last here.
A lot better. We got
So, talk to me a little bit, we've talked about the trust before, but I want to go back specifically to you guys pushing that solo with the car. How much trust do you guys have in each other to have the awareness of, as long as Landon destroys this box, I'm killing this guy?
It was a lot better this game, especially since I beat him for 75.
Perfect.
And knowing that if he could distract, I can get the kill.
So, and we heard from Landon a little bit talking about comms. From the little bit that I heard, comms being much better this game. How are comms ever so evolving and building as you guys continue to grow as teams?
The more we play, we start to see more people. Before we just either things
Okay, and Farmer here, what are you specifically looking for at these past drops that you can continue to grow and get better at for future?
At least
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to step up here with me, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week and see what you guys continue to do. So thank you so much. All right. So I do not believe we have a third alternate for it at this point. Would love to potentially get Coach Kyle up here to say a few words. As it doesn't look like give me 1 second, let me step away and see if I can't grab him real quick. All right, so it looks like we are going to get him up here in a second. Really interesting, I think, it's going to be to hear from him. And as he puts the headset on, and I get joined by my good friend, Wes. Coach Kyle.
Pleasure to be back, Coach. How are we doing, man?
I'm doing good, Coach Kyle. I went through a little bit. So, more so, we're going to start with Landon and Zarek. How have those guys grown exponentially as a duo?
It's really interesting. So when we paired the two of them together, one thing that we knew was that Zarek had a lot of good technical skills and that Landon had a lot of good communication skills. So part of the reason we paired them together was they sort of have one strength for the other. So basically it's been just really interesting to watch the confidence grow because they can choose to lean on the other one. I'll use a really good point of phrase here. Zarek during our last season probably would not have taken some of the fights and the engagements that he took, but just sitting there watching Zarek literally hold a team in Storm. Landon, God love him, loves his chest beam on Iron Man, but couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with it today. But it was perfect because he flushed them out, and then Zarek was able to actually confirm with a more accurate weapon, a more accurate shot. So I think the confidence has been directly related to the two of them being able to lean on the other player for their strengths, right? Which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. You know, and we talked to both of them, after both matches, and both of them harping on the amount of trust that they have for each other.
Yeah.
What, as a coach, is that mean to you to see that they kind of have that and to continue to develop that level of trust?
It's the best thing. It's exactly why we do this. I know it's why you do this for Rocket League too, but like getting to a place when you can rely on another person at a high stress moment is like the coolest thing about sports. It really truly is. It's one of the coolest things to like look at the person next to you and know that that person's got my back, no matter how hectic it gets, no matter how difficult it gets. And it's really good because personality-wise, they just bring out so much fun stuff in each other. Like it's fun to coach them. Like earlier tonight, I'm giving Zarek a hard time. Zarek, was that a joke? And then in classic Zarek fashion, he just goes, and it doesn't say a word, but like it's so fun to watch that, and they bring it out of each other. So again, as a coach, like I want us to win. I want us to achieve victories. The more banners I get to hang on the rafters and put my name on, the better. But like truly, the biggest victory you can get is when two kids are like, oh yeah, no, I trust the person I'm with. I like the person I'm with. This is somebody who like I feel like I am resonating with. Is a huge deal.
So now kind of going to Sean and Malachi here. So we saw actually a pretty solid performance from them from drop one. Unfortunately, drop two being a little unlucky. What can you take away from drop two?
Don't hot drop. There's nothing else to say other than don't hot drop. It was we made a arena-wide decision. Don't hot drop. If you hot drop, coach has no sympathy for you. We hot dropped. We got absolutely deleted. It's what we knew was going to happen. It's the one thing that we struggle with more than anything else as an arena. We don't hot drop for that exact reason. Listen. There's only, as you know, only so much you can do as a coach before you have to give the agency over to the player's hands. If you're going to take the hot drop, you better make sure that you dang sure own it, or it's going to own you, and that's exactly what happened. So, I'd love to see him correct what I think is a fundamental error in our game. It's an error that we've spent not insubstantial amount of time fixing and making sure is addressed, but we'll see if it happens next drop. So.
And so kind of going to drop one, obviously much better from them. And them not being much of an aggressive team, a little bit being more passive. How do you use that, and also how do you kind of get them to a scenario where they really themselves enough to start to take it?
So it's interesting. With Sean and Malachi especially, I don't know if I want to classify them as a passive team so much as I would call them like a goofy team, right? Sean and Malachi are going to take opportunities to do the fun part of the game during the drop, whether or not that's the most strategically viable decision. For the two of them, they're just like, yo, what if we both had two chainsaws and then I can switch from one chainsaw to the other? And like, you might laugh because like, yeah, it is really goofy, but it's kind of like pretty goobery fun. But the advantage to that as a coach is, for me, that becomes a strength, right? Because then they're unpredictable, right? What are you gonna do when you're like, oh, cool, their chainsaw is out of charge, and then Sean pulls out a second chainsaw because like no one is expecting that. So as a coach, like learning to lean into those strengths and having them lean in on those strengths is really cool. One of the things that I don't know if we get a chance to actually hear the player's audio or not, but one of the things that I want to draw attention to was that Sean took on IGL roles for that first drop. Usually it's Malachi that takes on those roles. And so Sean was like, nope, I'm IGL in this game. He's like, cool dude, go for it, go on with your bad self. And it was really great to watch him calm in a way that our teams that take the first place victories calm. That was, to me, amazing. And again, that's why I say they're not passive. They just have their own unique way of playing that's totally them. And if we can figure out a way to harness that and we can combine that with, a really strong IGL style, which Sean displayed tonight in drop 1, and Malachi, to his credit, was like, yeah, man, I'll go with whatever plan you've got. I'm with you. Let's do it. Let's lock it in. So if we can combine those two things, I think it's going to make for a team that's really hard to counter and really hard to play against. So
I agree. And finally, thing we have to talk about is Jack and Miko. Just at this point, setting a standard of getting at least one victory a night.
I'm going to knock, proverbially on wood, just to make sure that it doesn't, jinx ourselves here. But it's one of those things where it is all of the fundamentals coming together. So one of the things that I got to address with some of my other kids who are like, it's like a disease, they keep killing us, because Jack and Miko keep knocking them out. But one of the things you'll notice when they rotate, again, if anyone wants to go back and watch the VOD, there's your homework tonight, you'll notice that they hug a natural high ground. I think I just stole it, which means for their play style, they are better defenders. Some will try to push up because they can build up, and that high ground is already, enemies are already working at a disadvantage. Or what fits Jack and Miko's playstyle so well is because they already have natural high ground, it's much easier to push down, which is really where they excel. Sean really excels with the high mobility items because he can hug on height and then he can engage that way while Jack presses. It's actually one of the things that you all got the chance to see. Every single game that happens, Jack will usually press, either with builds or a mobility item, he'll go straight forward. While they're trying to address Jack, who's going for the front of the approach, Sean is usually flanking from both directions. And both of them happen to have a really good sense of technical skill, so they can rely on the other one. While you're busy trying to deal with Jack, Sean is taking you out from above. While you're trying to deal with Sean, Jack is actually just pushing you off of whatever POI that you're on. Good luck dealing with both of them. It's one of the things that I think might look like it's sorcery because it's like, wow, it all happens so quickly, but it's a series of very small fundamental decisions that you've been trying to reinforce, right? Hugging natural high ground, listening to your IGL, focusing on making sure that you've got mobility items. If you might have heard me in game 2 being like, Sean, stop fighting in close quarters with the chainsaw. That's not what the chainsaw's for. You have dualies. I know you. You don't miss with those. You'll spray them because you have zero fear. Get those. Spray them. And sure enough, the next fight he's like, okay. And then just drop the chainsaw in the middle of the fight, just go boom, and then just deletes the man from the existence of the world. It's hysterical to watch, but it's a series of small fundamental decisions that are really leading to this big victories. And we have to see the two with Brady and Atlas, and I do also got a victory. So huge shout out to them for number 1 finishes. So 2 number 1 finishes, 1 in Division 1 and 1 in Division 2. So again, it's a series of small fundamental stuff that's leading to these things that like, wow, they make it look effortless. So yeah, it's a series of a lot of things that they have worked very, very hard on. So
perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time coming up here to answer your questions. Yeah, you're a busy guy with your score reporting and all that fun stuff.
My favorite part of the job. My favorite part of the job.
But that is going to do it for us here at Valhalla Campbell. See you guys potentially on Wednesday for either some Fortnite, some Rocket League, or some Apex, and then of course we will have Thursday Valorant. And I hope you guys all look forward to that as we continue to get ever so close to actually live streaming. So that being said, again, thank you guys so much. Thank you from everyone here, and we will see you guys on Wednesday.